everyone, that meeting is now adjourned. And I'd like to call to order the commission meeting of April the 7th. Ms. DiLiberto, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Ammons.
Here.
Commissioner Knight.
Here.
Commissioner Scales.
Good morning.
Commissioner Tyson. Commissioner Stevens.
I am here, thank you. Invocations from Commission District 2 and the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's get the County Manager Walter Jackson to lead us in our pledge.
Good morning, everyone. Heavenly Father, we bless you. We thank you for this day that you have made, and let us rejoice and be glad in it. We're thankful to still be in the land of the living. As we come before this meeting, come to do this meeting on doing business on behalf of the city and the county, especially the county, we first come before the King, acknowledging you in all our ways that you might engineer and direct our path. Guide us, O thou, great Jehovah Pilgrim, through this barren land. We admit that we are weak, but thou art mighty. Hold us with your powerful hand. You said, first of all, prayers, intercession, giving of thanks, supplications should be made for all men, for all kings, all presidents, all governors and mayors and county commissioners, and all community leaders, city council. Father, we bring them before you, first of all, thanking you for their service. Because as they take care of county business, they themselves have personal concerns, financial concerns, health concerns, family concerns. You said you would perfect that which concerns them. So, Father, we pray choice blessings over them. But at the same time, as we prepare for the agenda, and we see the things that are on there, the economic development, the decisions about liquor, to God, and even the respect, and everything that's on that agenda, Father, we ask for a sentence, a decision from the King. Not our will, but let your will be done. We understand, dear God, how important it is and how you've entrusted these commissioners to do business on behalf of the people. Let us never lose sight of that. We bless you and we praise you. And I end by praying the prayer of Jabez over this county. Oh, that you would enlarge our territory, Jefferson County. That your hand may be upon us. That you would keep us from all evil in these evil days. And we'll be mindful to give you all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory. In the matchless, mighty, magnanimous, magnificent name of the Lord Jesus, we pray. Let us all agree by saying amen.
Amen. Address the flag. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, both. Commissioners, you have before you the minutes from my March 17th meeting.
I move we dispense of the reading of the minutes and adopt them as written.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Next on the agenda, we do have presentations. The first is going to be World Games, and this is security update. Commissioner Knight.
Yes, I would like to introduce Mr. Nick Sellers, Dick Ashton, and his team. Y'all would come to the mic, just give us a brief overview of the of the World Games, security issues that we face and how it might affect us doing business here at the courthouse. I know we don't have any maps and things like that because we don't want to reveal what our security situation is, but we want to just hand it off to you and
yes,
sir. For that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Knight. Commissioner President Stevens and Commissioners, thank you for your time. We'll be brief this morning. This is just a preliminary update as Commissioner Knight, who serves on our board. We're so grateful the Birmingham Organizing Committee of the World Games for his time and for all of your service. So we'll give you a quick update on where we are with respect to logistics on transportation and come back and be briefing your teams and the staff here and then come back with a final plan here in the weeks ahead. We're 91 days out from the first major international multi-sport event in the world. Thank the Lord, with full venues again coming out of this great pandemic. In our judgment, this will go down as one of the greatest public-private partnerships in the modern era for this state, certainly for the central Alabama area. We couldn't do it without this county commission, your leadership, the city of Birmingham, city of Hoover, all of our municipalities, from Gardendale north to Warrior, all the way south to Pelham. Everyone is leaning into the moment for us. It was just announced recently that the president of the International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, will be here for opening ceremonies this week, broadcast globally in over 100 countries and domestically on CBS. Over 108 countries, 3,600 athletes, as you know, will be competing in these games. We went to the federal government with a request to the Department of Homeland Security, this being a major moment for Birmingham, that we could receive some assistance from the Department of Homeland Security with respect to overall security coordination efforts. There are five different levels of ratings that the Homeland Security and the federal government gives an event. There's some 40,000 applications a year for these event security assessments. There's SEER ratings, security event assessment ratings. We were a level 3, we asked for a 2, 1 being the highest. They came back with a level 1 security rating for this event. There's about 6 or less than a dozen of those a year that are granted a level 1 security rating. A Super Bowl is one of those. With that comes great benefits in terms of having one of the safest and most secure events that our community has ever seen. All of these 15 venue clusters. It also comes with some burdens. It's very rare that you get full benefit without any burdens. And the burdens are going to be some coordination that we're going to need at some areas. Some parking decks will be shut down in and around the city center perimeter area for these events as we have dignitaries from all over the world. I'm joined with our Chief Operations Officer, as you mentioned, Jay Caston, and the Chief of Operations for the City of Birmingham, Chaz Mitchell. Chief Mitchell has been central to our ability to execute on these games. We're grateful for his partnership. I'd like to turn it over to them to just give you a quick synopsis of where we are with respect to the perimeter, what we're calling the secure perimeter of the city center area and the work that is going on behind the scenes. But again, thank you for your time. We'll be brief and we'll come back later with full details.
Thank you, Nate. I'll be very brief and hand it over to Chief Mitchell. But really with the SEER rating, what that comes with is they don't come in and just take over. Really the security and everything is led through the leadership of BPD and then the coordination of many police forces around our state, including Jefferson County. And so we greatly appreciate that. And so they're working hand-in-hand in coordination and creating, as Nick alluded to, security perimeters of sorts that will have effects in and around downtown area with certain road closures. We're in the process of finalizing those maps, and once we do that, we certainly want to come back and give you a more detailed briefing on specifically what that is. But Chad,
good to see all you, Chad Mitchell, Chief Operations City of Birmingham. Not to belabor the point, but we just want to make sure that we're good neighbors and good partners of the county. So we will come back to your team to give you more of an update, a more robust update to let you know what streets will be closed around the downtown perimeter. And just as everybody said, we just want to just continue to be a partner to the county. And with our help with the city and our federal report and Patrick Davis, I apologize, Zach Davis, we will give you more robust updates to let you know how it affects you in your day-to-day business.
and I think the last point, though, is we understand the courthouse has to operate and everything around here needs to continue to operate, and that is being considered. We just want to make sure we have the right plan to be able to tell you how that's going to happen.
Well, that'd be very, very important because, you know, we with the jury trials and get the jurors in and out of here. And when I first saw I'm like, we may have some issues.
Yeah, Commissioner, to your point, we have been in contact with the presiding judge. Give her an opinion. So we're in lockstep with the county. So we just want to make sure that you understand, and you know, the citizens of Birmingham and the county understand what we're trying to do for the work and for those 10 days.
And guys, for our audience here, tell them the dates of the World Games again.
Yes, I apologize. Thank you, Commissioner. July the 7th through the 17th, so 11 days all in, 11 days of competition, opening ceremonies on the 7th, closing ceremonies on the 17th, some big announcements coming up around that. 350,000 tickets, Commissioner, have already been sold and committed to these World Games over 10 days in over 40 countries. So, again, this is going to be the largest international multi-sport event in the Southeast U.S. since the '96 Olympics, certainly the largest in the state of Alabama's history. And we want to make sure that the fans from all and in our community know, while there may be some challenges in terms of parking within a few blocks of where the heartbeat of these games will be for 10 nights, and that is the Regions World Games Plaza, the new city wall, which is under construction, will be finalized, and it will be a beautiful gathering place for us to welcome the world. There still will be parking in and around the city center. It may be just some blocks to walk there, but we will have, thanks to the city and to this county's support and others, public van transportation, World Games Express loops that we'll be announcing soon, that will drop you off literally a block from the Regions World Games Plaza, and many of the events, including competitions at Boutwell Auditorium, BJCC, dance, sport, and gymnastics, opening and closing ceremonies. We're going to, and the ride shares, we're going to make this as fan-friendly as we can make it for our citizens as much as everybody else around the world. More to come on what those perimeters look like.
And we did, unfortunately, for our audience, have to ban athletes from Russia and Belarus. They were scheduled to come, but we had to make a decision, and we elected not to invite them to come. And that's unfortunate, but that's just the reality of the world we're living in right now.
We did, Commissioner. At the recommendation of the International Olympic Committee, the IWGA made that official. We supported it, obviously. You did, and our board supported that decision. We didn't take any joy in that decision. These athletes are innocent. They wanted to be worth their whole lives to compete, but so did so did the Ukrainian athletes, many of whom are standing by, fending for their lives.
Thank you all.
One question, if you don't mind. This Tier 1 rating, that will go to all venues around this. If they're doing softball at Hoover, or they're doing something at Crossplex, this will follow the events throughout the city, am I correct?
That's correct. The Tier 1 rating touches everything that the World Games has in place, from the actual events to what we do around the venue per se. So yes, it touches the entire footprint of the city of Birmingham, Pelham, and Hoover.
To take it even further, it will be in effect supporting us with special events, as well as the airport and other public facilities and utility. I mean, it goes well beyond just the venues.
So as we get this to the public, for them to better understand it, there will be something going on, 5 Points, there'll be things going on out at the Hoover Met, and down at Pelham, the Icon, all these different areas will be subject at various times for this type of security. So please be patient.
Oak Mountain,
Avondale.
Yeah.
and we have a sumo wrestling event. So if there's anybody in the audience that wants to volunteer,
It's sold out.
I see one or two that make up for it.
July 9th is still available. We still have tickets available. There's about 10,000 tickets still available on opening ceremonies. We have some big announcements coming there. I would encourage everybody to get your tickets now. Those will go fast. TWG2022.com. Average ticket prices are $25 for these events. And it's got something for everybody, commissioners, as you know. We go as far south as Oak Mountain for water ski jumping and wakeboarding. Women's softball, gold medal round. The U.S. women's team hopefully avenge a gold medal loss in Tokyo in Japan, right here at the Hoover Met. Some great competitions, as you mentioned, sumo wrestling. I got to tell you a quick story. There's a guy named Trent Sabo. I thought sumo was all big folks. Come to find out, there's a lightweight division. Trent Sabo is 190 pounds. The man has won silver twice in the lightweight division of sumo. He's a truck driver. He calls himself the sexy sumo wrestler. And he's literally like Sylvester Stallone in that 1980s movie Over the Top. He drives a truck every day to make enough money to pay for his dream of winning a gold medal. And this is his last chance at Boutwell Auditorium to win a gold medal on global TV and represent his country. Get a ticket while you can. July the 9th, sumo is still available, but 10th is sold out.
And we have some local people that have tried out for the women's football team.
Yes, ma'am.
Several of the teams, we have about, I think about 19 that I have counted, that have actually tried out and made the team.
Commissioner Tyson, you bring up a good point. I know there's other important business before you all today, but flag football is men's and women's. It's one of the fastest growing high school and youth sports. These lady athletes are incredible, and this is presented by the NFL. We'll have NFL legends at Legion Field for 4 days of competition. They are pushing flag football. If you look it up, NFL flag football, you'll see World Games first. The next thing you'll see is LA 28 Olympics. They're pushing to make this an Olympic sport, and this is their platform to do it.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Nick, you look good on the red carpet.
Well, I had some nice people looking better around me, so thank you.
Like your wife.
Yes.
Next on the agenda, we have, respect in the organization to discuss our organization's gas food giveaway along with the voter registration drive. I believe this is Commissioner Tyson.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Let me first of all again thank you for the opportunity to come before you. We just heard the report. Great things are happening in our county. I'm extremely excited about all the security. Let's not forget, we certainly bless God for the natural, but except the Lord build a house, ain't labor in vain. Except the Lord keep the city. We can have all the security we want. So let's keep those angels deployed, those of us that understand that. I'm honored to come speak before you. Been a part of Birmingham all my life, Jefferson County, and in ministry for 42 years. 26 of those, I started the Respect organization. Now, whereas we're extremely excited about the world coming to Birmingham, at the end of the day, before the world gets here and after they leave, we still got to have an atmosphere of safety and peace. And as many of you already know, crime is running wild. Commissioner Scale, we worked together many years. Tyson and Stevens, even on the Mural Commission, I had an opportunity to be on that. But I'm really concerned and have always been concerned about Birmingham and proclaiming that Jesus is Lord. So we started the RESBCT, respecting every single person ever created today. Recently, gas prices began to spike. I came up with a vision about giving away free gas. Nothing political about it. Our church is doing quite well. And humbly I say, it's just not many pastors that are reaching the status of international influence that will get in the streets, in the trenches. And so I called Commissioner Tyson and I asked her, I said, I heard you guys had done a gas giveaway. We're not asking for money. Just tell us what you have done, because down through the years we did a thing called the Pit Stop, People in Trouble, the acronym. It was nationally advertised. People pass by, come by, not visit, not stay at our church. We give them a gas card, give them a biscuit, send them like they would do and change the NASCAR. That made national attention. But we had never done a gas pump. Maybe met the pump. But she gave us she was in Washington and said that, but we're willing to support you and tell you how to get it done. Make a long story short, even though the county, I want to say thank you for supporting Respect down through the years. Sometimes you gave us more than other years according to your income. I mean, one year we got $50,000 from some commission, but through the bankruptcy, we made it down to 5. But I believe you'll hear the Lord and say, "Give us back up to 50 before it's over." Yeah. But anyway, we did not come to the county for money for that, even though for our Respect rally, which you guys support, that happened in July of last year, and we had over 5,000 people come through for book bags. We were only expecting a couple of thousand since people. We're not doing the rally in the park, Kellyman Park, Crosscrest. Well, the lines went on forever, so we used all of that money as it relates to the Respect back to school rally back in August. But this campaign, gas, north, east, west, and south, and I'll be out your way in a moment. More Than Conquerors is celebrating 40 years, which I've had the privilege to be there. I know it was a vision. I've been in ministry long enough to know. He says, I want you to come out of the pulpit, and I want you to do something in all directions. North, east, west, south, news. 4 directions. And that's a tribute to the number 4. So we ended up on north side, the other day, east side, west side, 3rd Avenue West. Some places where a lot of preachers would not go. But I was raised in Preston, not afraid of the hood, even though God is blessed. And so we went there, and a lot of cars were just lined up. And we really raised some money as a fundraiser. We raised money for our church. Over $15,000 was raised from our church to give back to our community. Because a lot of times people ask you, what is the church doing? So just for the record's sake, for the with the sheriff, it's not a political thing. Sheriff Petway, once a month for your information for the last 2 years. Elder Don Thompson, his assistant. He's been the chaplain, overseeing the chaplain for your chaplains. And we have gone in every part of the county on every first Sunday. After I preach like crazy on Sunday, I put on my jeans as sheriff, and we go preach to those counties in those parts, believing that Birmingham, Jefferson County will be a safe haven. So this is not our first rodeo. You know what I'm saying? That we'll continue to do things. I only ask as we give the report of that, as we get ready for respect year 2022 through 24, that you invest a little bit more. I would think, as gracious as I am, that someone that would be in the trenches for 26 years and had the #1 back to school rally in America, that I would think that entrusting us with the finances that we need, $5,000 would almost be like a slap in the face. So I'm asking you, as we get in the trenches, we have other things. We have a helicopter drive, Easter egg drive in the inner city at Legionville, where we'll be dropping 10,000 Easter egg baskets. We've done this before. 10,000 will be there. Some will have money in it, but we're always having that pledge. Telling people to say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, excuse me, I'm sorry, please, thank you. These are the things that we're finding out that has a direct correlation to crime. So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing a safe summer rally in May, right before Memorial Day, giving away life jackets, gun locks, everything that curtails crime. Then we'll come back with our back to school rally. Then our fall festival, because it used to be at the Fair Park years ago, Crossplex. Now it's been in Pelham. But the children in the inner city don't get a chance to experience those. We have it, and it's 5,000 people as we collaborate with the radio stations, the TV stations. So sometimes people are talking about how many people are getting killed, but I just want to close on this note. What we don't think about is how many lives are being saved. For every 2 or 3 that you see on the news per week, how many are being impacted, not just by respect, but by some of my other preach brothers that are out in the trenches. So I want to say thank you to the commission. I've been around to see all the administrations, Jeremy, Larry Langford, William Bell, the mayors, Kincaid, all the commissioners, and I have worked with all of them. We'll continue to work with them, and I hope that you will trust us as we've been impeccable in our integrity. Every dollar is going to count for. So that's pretty much I want to say. We'll let you know that we cease not to make mention of you in our prayers, that we're praying for this county, that our crime will go down, our prices will go down, but in the meantime, we're answering the questions that many people ask. Where is the church? Well, the church is not just in the pulpit. We were at a gas station in Port Madrid, and the lines were long, and they tried to take over the pump for a moment, but Commissioner Bell came and said, look, you're not going to get in the gas if you don't move back. I let the pastors know that, look, I'm not trying to grow our church. Our church has grown to 5,000, sometimes split, sometimes grown, but God is our source. But everything that's given to us from the commission will always go toward the community, and not a dime will go toward Northern Conference State Church. So thank you for your vote of confidence in supporting this, what we call I Will Live. That's the thing. It's called I Will Live. Have you seen those banners all over the place, ceasefire? It's trying to say to our people, black, white, no matter whether the persuasion, that you will live, as Psalm 118 says, and not die. And more than just preach it, we're going to help you live by giving you the gas and get to the doctors and do what you need to do. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that.
I have Mary Jones from Greater Birmingham Ministry.
I'd like to.
Okay, can you let her finish first? Well, come on, Mary.
Good morning to the women and men here, and commissioners, and thank you, Sheila. My part in Monday, and anywhere there is an event for the community, I'm a volunteer, long time, since Sweetwater, Alabama, Marengo County. Father, my mom, and she was involved with Senator Sanders in this okay. However, my purpose on Monday was to register people, and I do that everywhere I go, and I do that on my job. On a daily basis, when somebody comes in for a I ask them, I do register voter. If you're not, and if it's on the phone, I usually go loud when I'm coming out to work with them and tell them what it goes to get. I've got some with me that I did on Monday, and I did not see any official walking the lines other than me and the women, okay? And a few guys, but they were young people. They were running, doing more walking than myself because I walk slower these days, and there's a reason for that. However, I just wanted you to know, I did not see Sheila stay in her place. She only came to the mic when you called for her. And, the sheriff, likewise, I don't even remember seeing him. He kind of stayed to the side. However, you know, we were the ones doing the registration. And as I said, that is what I do, along with the other things that I do as a League Ministry and support my ministry. It loves me and I love it.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry. I think somebody has a question.
That's it.
Yeah.
Joe?
Do you have to register to vote in order to get gas?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, there's nothing got to do with, no, the gas is coming strictly from the church. It really had nothing to do with anything political and voting. Those are just sidebars, you know what I'm saying? Because part of what we're seeing in our community is a lot of our citizens have been in prison, and to get them back home, we're preaching a holistic gospel. So not only was there a voter registration, but even UAB was there dealing with the medical for those that had COVID. So whenever I put on a function, I try to make sure it's not just eating, meeting, and greeting, that every phase of man that can be impacted. I promise you, I have more than enough to deal with the spiritual, but the medical, the voting, it's kind of
They
one
was
size.
out there for people who had COVID and was still having symptoms. They was actually doing surveys. They were also out there doing surveys with people who was addicted to heroin and opioids. They was out there doing surveys because they were getting ready to open up a meth clinic and several other facilities over there for that area. That area was targeted by the census, and that's the low-income area, and that's what's going on in that area. That's why that area was
So the gas becomes the bait. You and I know that these days many people are not coming back in the church. I think the commission says, no pun intended, to let our light so shine before men that they may see our good works. They don't really care about our worship. It's our works that they may glorify. So meritology is not what we're after, but I don't mind getting in the trenches, getting in the dirt, and talk, because I understand that the effective community, biblically from a Judeo-Christian perspective, consists of three elements: the prophet, the priest, and the king. And when the three collaborate together, network together, that's when community. If you just get it all government, it's not going to work. I think I read the Great Christmas Story, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. So thank you for being entrusted with the citizens' taxpayer money, so that when we go out there, you know, they call on me to pray, I pray, but if we go out and distribute the goods, that's what we have no other agenda, no other motive. It doesn't matter. Any commissioner that wants to join, I'll work with you with your committee. You area.
How much gas does each person get when they come in? Is it
$25 per tank.
And in relation to that, 2 weeks ago, when I have a very small car, I pulled in and not filled up, got 3/4 tank. And it said $41, I almost collapsed.
Yes.
But my point is that we don't just do voter registration, we do voter restoration. And what that means is the people who still think they are felons or have something on their record, we help them clear that up. I've gone all the way to Montgomery to the office there to help people get that. I would like to say my rights back, but get your opportunity to vote. That's voter restoration, and we do that all the time.
where's your next gas giveaway?
It's on
10th Street and between 4th and 5th Avenue North on the Chevron service station.
I encourage you to come out, and the last one is going to be announced.
I'm going to encourage all these folks to come out.
They can come out too. We're probably getting, I got a sneaking suspicion with the desperation in the dire straits. I think it's something that should go on. And we could, develop that mentality that, people just looking for a handout. I think I've been in ministry long enough to see and discern that we had one older lady, she was 80 years old. She had run out of gas. Channel 42 did their lead story, their headline story was a miracle at the pump. She ran out of gas. She was going to take her son to the doctor. Our people mobilized, went put gas at the back of the line, brought her to the front of the line so she could have enough to get to take care of her medical needs. So again, and Commissioner, because you know me, this ain't nothing new. I've been doing this for a long time. We've talked about doing things at Legionville. Nothing has changed. I'm not into politics. I'm not running for anything. I think I could. Been around long enough to run for an office, but that's not what I'm called.
What district you live in?
In the West End. So that's not even my thing. I don't want to get preachy here. Religion says our citizenship is in heaven. I'm from heaven. I'm in this world, but I'm just here representing the kingdom of God, but interested in how I can mobilize the network. So even though my church is in District 2, those that know and understand my apostolic call know that for a long time, I've always gone into all regions, and that we will continue to do what I'm working with this council, for the next council, or long when I'm gone.
Thank you so much, Pastor. One of our commissioners had an emergency come up, so I know we are pressed for time. But thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have next to
Pastor, what date is that, gas?
On Monday.
Monday.
The next one
It will be every Monday.
The 11th and the 18th, and
at 4 o'clock.
And should this commission decide to give me the $50,000, it may be solo month. I'll go as long as you find it.
next on the agenda is the economic development public hearing. There's project 3, and I'd like to turn it further over to Commissioner Steve Adams.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This is officially called Project Agile with Milo's. We received information on Tuesday at our committee meeting. Milo's has done an expansion, or is in the process of doing an expansion in Bessemer facility and in Homewood. The Homewood facility is taking over the old Barber's Dairy in that area and refitting part of that facility to produce lemonade. We appreciate Milo's, considering we have a member of the CEO of Milo's, as well as their economic development attorney, Trey Hill, here, if there are any questions. This is an expansion of 291 jobs, which is vitally important to our economy, and a nice size capital investment. So we're pleased to have them stay here instead of moving to another state.
At this time, I'd like to open a public hearing on Milo's Tea project. Is there anyone in the audience who would speak in favor of or in opposition to this particular economic development agreement? Seeing none, public hearing is closed.
Move, got it.
Second.
All right, move the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Next time, samples.
Yeah, you could have put a lot of business out here.
Y'all look up with the fridge out there and put some lemonade out with the fridge.
Yeah. All right, next, we have case B220002. This is a beverage license case, located at, for a lounge retail liquor class 2, which is hard liquor, in conjunction with the proposed package store at parcel 31001610002400, it's section 16, now place 18, range 5 west. It's now zoned light industrial. It's located at 6632 Warrior Hill Road and Concord Rock Creek area. Mr. Marshall.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Again, this is a request for a package store at the intersection of 15th Street Road and Warrior River Road out in the
Concord, Rock Creek area. The facility itself is 3,500 square feet. The facility does meet all of the requirements within the zoning regulations for locations. The applicant does have several years of experience and has never been cited by the agency board. I will point out that in this particular instance and in this particular area of the county, we have had 2 other requests for liquor licenses, both of which have been denied. This was at a location 2.2 miles to the southeast of this facility and further away from the school. Though it does comply with the 1,000-foot requirement, this facility is 1,800 feet from the property of Concord Elementary. And according to what we've been receiving as information from the community, there is a bus stop at this location or near this location as well. Again, going back to those previous cases, one was in 2012 at the facility down the road. That case was appealed to the court, and the court held the county commission's decision to deny based on the culture of the community. Again, there was another case at that same location back in 2020 that was also denied. If you have any questions, I'd like to entertain those.
What was this facility originally? Do you know?
This, I believe, was boat sales, and then it became like a HVAC.
Look, everyone will, I'll give 3 of you the opportunity to speak. Please do not speak out in the commission meeting. We will make sure that everyone's position is well heard. So, go ahead.
Okay, that was my question. You got it wrong.
I had that boat sales and plumbing, right? They did the boat sales?
Okay.
It's precision plumbing and both
Right.
of that.
Oh, okay,
So,
Commissioner, I know what I'm doing.
Please check in.
That's all. Any further questions?
3,500 square feet.
petition.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
we do have petitions.
What was the recommendation?
Right, again, we have several petitions that were in denial or requesting denial. There are some additional letters that we received since Tuesday, and I put those before you on the dais. There's been an overwhelming response from the community that we've received that has been in favor of, again, continuing the trend of denial of these liquor stores in this particular area of the county.
Is this facility one facility, or is it divided? Is it not?
The wording on the lease for the facility was for the entirety of the square footage within. So, I mean, based on what we were presented with the lease, I would assume that would be the case. We have received reports that another business was going into the adjacent, or they were splitting it to put another business in the same facility. The nature of that business was the people of the community were afraid that it was going to be a bingo hall. Immediately, we contacted the applicant in the liquor license case to inform them that, of course, these bingo halls are not allowed or considered illegal within the incorporated areas of Jefferson County. And also let them know what the penalties for that would be as far as zoning violations go.
Has there been a business license granted to the other entity that maybe?
In my communications with Revenue as recent as yesterday, they didn't let me know that there was one. I know that there's probably a lag between people going to get them and then getting to the auditor and whatever their workflow is. But the 2 additional ones from the previous list that we had, I don't recall seeing this particular address mentioned.
Has there been anybody applying for a business license entitled some kind of charity bingo, or do you know?
There's been some reports again from the community that it's a fire station bingo, and in some communications there have been some Facebook posts where they have talked about opening up a new location in Concord.
Thank you, Mike.
Very well, sir.
At this time, I'd like to open up a public hearing for beverage case 220002. I'd like to begin with the applicant, please.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, commissioners. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I do need to let you state your name and your home address, please.
Okay, Rashawn Patel, 863 Carlton Street, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, 35406.
Okay. And you're asking for a liquor license?
Correct.
For 6632 Warrior River Road?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to tout your reasons for that application?
Yeah, sure. We've actually looked at this building for close to about a year now. We were told that it's basically been stagnant for 10 years. There was, the previous landlord, but he was just using the entire property for storage. We, agreed to a price, came in, and we liked the area. So basically, that was our reasoning for doing it. The entire property, there are about 2 buildings on the property, so in total, I think it's about 10,000 square feet. So the main building is 8,000, and we're leasing part of that building, about 3,500 square feet, for the package store. So there's still available room in the outside building and the main building for other businesses to come in.
And you're just leasing?
So the way that we had to do
Or
it,
you're buying?
we bought the property, but for sales, for sales tax reasons, we had to create a separate LLC to lease part of that building.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because
Have you leased the other part?
yes,
To
the back 25% portion is the fire station bingo, that they were talking about a second ago.
So you've already, as the owner, have already leased the back portion for a charity bingo park.
Yes.
Do you understand that charity bingo in Jefferson County is illegal?
So he presented me with his business license, which was issued, he has a state license and his county license.
Yeah, but that wasn't my question.
Okay.
Do you understand that charity bingo or bingo of any kind is illegal in Jefferson County?
From what I was told, he had permission from the county, and he presented me with his license. So if it is, then I don't mind terminating his lease.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Anything?
Any other questions?
We're good.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Spokesperson number 1.
Well, I thought we had 3. I thought we had 3.
Yeah, you want to do them all? You want to do them all? I'm good either way. Anyone else that's speaking in favor of this? I don't want to do that. Then we'll... Yes, sir.
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Name, address?
Yes. I'm the applicant as well. My name is Vimarsh Patel, 2580 Highway 77, Southside, Alabama. I understand we are here for approval or the denial of my liquor license, which we are very much prepared about the denial. But the reason for us to bring something over there when we acquired the property was because the place was really a shaggy looking place. So first we wanted to, liquor was not the first priority to begin with. And whenever people stop by, because after acquiring the building, we put in a good amount of renovation just to make it look prettier. After doing all the renovations, it was open to whoever stopped by, and we were trying to get anyone who wanted to come and rent the place. We didn't find a lot of interest, honestly, so then we thought of putting the storage units over there, climate control and outside storage units. So we approached the neighbor behind the building because there were a lot of bushes and trees. So we approached them that we could clean up all that stuff behind the building so our property could be visible on our expense. So again, the reply was, response from the neighbor was that yes, you could clear it on your expense, but only on one condition, that you cannot build no storage over there. So now that idea also went down the drain. We opened offers to restaurant and all that, got in touch with a few little franchisees, but they wanted a full-fledged kitchen and all that, and we offered them that, all right, they could come up with the kitchen and all the plant, and we will help them get the health permit license and all that. But again, no interest in that one. Finally, we came up with this. We decided that portion of the building we still want to, because 10,000 square feet we wouldn't need for a liquor store. So we divided the property and we had 3,500 square feet for the package store, which I understand. Looking in the Facebook page, we approached the community over there and tried to even get their feedback. Don't matter if it's positive or negative, but we just wanted to listen them out. And last Sunday we conducted a kind of meet and greet thing where if anybody had a problem, they could come and talk to us, and we could come to an agreement. If they didn't want it, that we wouldn't have been over here. We could have just withdrawn our application from the get-go. But we don't get our main motive to that particular area, honestly, sir, was that particular area was looking like a jump and trying to bring some kind of job or some kind of investment over there, which would help the community also, and me being a businessman would help me as a businessman too. So that was our goal.
Okay. So how many square feet is how much acreage is the property?
It's one, before it was told 4 point, that's how it was advertised when it was listed out for sale, but when we got it measured out, it's 1.13.
And when did y'all purchase the property?
In January.
Of this year?
Yes, January, it's the 18th of January.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have one other that wanted to speak for it. Do we have another? Seeing none, but
I wrote
all right.
Mark Scoggin of the Tuscaloosa, and I did write my name down and say in favor. This is the plan.
And your relation is what?
I'm an attorney.
You're the attorney for it. Okay.
This is intended to be a high-end liquor store. It's going to be expensive kind of thing. So to try to attract a little bit of clientele, maybe I'm not going to have liquor stores. And they do have a good record. ABC has never cited them for anything, and they've been in this kind of business for years. They do have a record of community involvement, doing things for the community, getting involved in the community. So this is not what it appears on its face. But they have reached out to the community. They've, canvassed on Facebook. They've had a meeting by the community come in. So it's a little unusual from what I've seen in the past in these kind of operations. So I just wanted to.
Mr. Scott, how many liquor stores does your client have, since he's obviously been in the business a while and done great things for the community?
Yeah, I think some of the information is in the application. I think you have been involved in 4.
Yes. I have 4 liquor stores. One in Tennessee, the rest were in Alabama, different parts of Alabama.
Where?
Russellville. There was a town called Russellville. There was a town called Hamilton. One in Tuscaloosa, and one in Florence.
Okay. Good, thank you. Okay, we'll begin. Who do we have as spokesperson for the community? We'll begin with one. Okay. Look. I need for you to state your name and your address.
Commission, thank you for allowing us this opportunity to participate in this hearing. My name is Dina Dalton. I live at 1180 Jackson Drive in Bessemer, and that is the road that is immediately next to this business. I spoke, and this is my neighbor, Rachel Corbin, if you would give her a hello. She's happy to be here with all of us supporting this as well. I met these gentlemen who are very kind on January 12th. I was coming down my road, headed out to work on a Sunday afternoon, and I saw them on the, if you look, left side of their property with their realtor. And I just jumped out and wanted to get to know them. I thought, oh, they're new people. They look like they might So I jumped out and spoke with them, and they were most kind and most receptive, and I appreciate that very, very much. And also on Facebook, of course, I'm sure many people have seen this, their conversations are very kind initially. Very little have they been provoked to saying anything that would be of a negative or mean to me or in their Facebook posts. So that's commendable. They've really tried to keep the peace. And for that reason, I want to say that we don't want a liquor store here. We don't want a lounge. We don't want bingo. But if they could propose anything other than this kind of business, if they could have come maybe down, if they could have come down our road and made an attempt to speak to or get to know any of the other residents on our street, that would have gone a very long way. Now, I will say that Rachel is a recent graduate of Hueytown High School. And as such, she was eligible for catching the school bus at the end of this road, which is immediately next to their lot. And we have some more children who are growing up now. This bus stop is not designated for Concord High School or Concord Elementary School because it's too close for bus service. Okay, that gives you an idea of the close proximity that Concord Elementary is to this establishment. However, Hueytown Middle School and High School are zoned for bus pickup, and we're talking, they begin the middle school years in 6th grade. We're talking 11-year-old children, okay? And at one point, Rachel was standing at the bus stop in the morning and departing the bus in the afternoons, which would be during their liquor and bingo time or lounge time, and that presents a huge concern for safety for many of the residents in the area. Now, I speak only of those of us who are on Jackson Drive. We have 9 homes on Jackson Drive, and we have at least 6 children. And they play nicely, they play comfortably and safely in our front yards. They might pass from one driveway to the next. We all know one another. We have a group where we say, hey, Rachel's outside, or hey, we're riding bikes today. So we all have very carefully look out for our children. Now, as such, we've already, since all this Facebook hoopla, we've already had stray cars driving down our road, checking everything out that we have never seen before. And this is concerning to us. It poses an issue of safety. Also, I myself was involved in a rear-ended accident immediately in front of their establishment several years ago. This area, since the building of the Dollar General, just the growth in the community, home sales are skyrocketing right now. Building has gotten better with lumber prices coming down. We have more residents in the area. It's the only outlet for everyone coming from the river, from Oak Grove. Some people come from Birmingport through our area, through this one intersection here, Warrior River Road and 15th Street. That red light right there in front of Dollar General and their establishment is the only outlet from the river. Now, we also have a fire department within a mile from this establishment. And there are many elderly people in our community that require assistance at times for lift assist, for falls, for injuries, or what have you. If this area becomes congested due to additional traffic due to the lounge or the bingo, then there's no egress opportunities for first responders. So we have a lot of concerns, as you can imagine. Some people have expressed their concerns about drinking, and yes, sir.
Thank you, you've made your point, and I want to try to limit these so we can get others to be able to speak.
Yes.
We appreciate that. And what I see is traffic in the bus stop.
Yes.
Are you mentioning?
Absolutely. Yes.
Who else would like? All right, now we need someone. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to speak.
Please. Eddie, we don't need to be redundant, what we say. It needs to be different issues that we have that we're looking at. And yes, ma'am, would you please state your name and your address?
Yes, sir. My name is Brandy Jackson. I live at 1143 Jackson Drive. I also work at Dollar General at 6607 Warrior River Road, across from the business. I do have 2 children that are on the street. One of them catch the bus. Working for Dollar General, I am the assistant manager. Just about on a daily basis, we see people that come in and buy beer at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. Most have already been drinking or coming in, drinking from the night before. We refuse alcohol to those that are visibly drunk. They leave open cans where they drink in our parking lot. We find needles in our parking lot. People come and have sex in our parking lot. This is not what we need for our community. Their lot is very dimly lit. I can see it from my front yard. I don't want my children to see this. This is not a business that we need in our community. We have a lot of wrecks right there at the intersection constantly. Our children ride bikes up and down the street. My children have suffered a traumatic loss of their grandmother from a drunk driver. She was ran over, not in a car, ran over. They are terrified that this liquor store coming there, they're not going to be able to play on their street. So we really hope that y'all deny them.
Yes, thank you.
Did you say that they're having drinking and sex and needles? And
Yes, sir.
Dollar
We ran
General?
people out of our parking lot. I pick up problems out of our parking lot. We just found a needle last week in our bathroom.
We need to get you in contact with the sheriff's department, Chris. Get with this lady after the meeting, please, and talk to Andrea and get some controls down there and stop that.
Have you been in discussions with these gentlemen?
I have. I talked to this gentleman right here, and I told him that anything other than a liquor store or a bingo hall.
Or another Dollar General?
Yeah, we don't need that either. Trust me, we don't need that either. Because I go from store to store working them. But he was really nice, and I asked him, please do not put that there because of the amount of kids that are on the street. And we have very young kids on there as well.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Michael Wilmoth, and I pastor the church at 7303 Taylor's Ferry Road. It's Harvest Baptist Church. We have a Christian school there. And our concern is that within actually 6 miles, there is already an ABC store that is operating in Hueytown. And between their location of business and that liquor store, there are no less than 10 places that sell the more less alcohol friendly type of drinks, beer, wine. So our concern is that with a liquor store, obviously crime increases, several facts in regards to crimes, effects on families, issues with greater vices that come into play simply because of that, the gateway drug of alcohol. So we're concerned about that, especially when we're trying to
Pastor, where'd you say you live?
I live at 1011 Kitty Branch Road in, it's considered Bessemer, but it's out on the Warrior River. But my church is at 7303 Taylor's Ferry Road. Okay, and so so that's our concern. The aspect of we have only Jefferson County patrols that cover that area. We have Hueytown has a larger police force, so there's very limited policing in that area. And so it would put a strain on a lot of different aspects of economics. A restaurant would be great, the steakhouse would be good, but to have a lounge and a liquor store, we would stand opposed to that as far as our ministry and church.
Is there a lounge proposed with this? All I've heard is liquor store and possibly a bingo.
It's strictly off premise.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, but what,
It does say lounge.
If I can, that's the nomenclature of the ABC board for the type of license.
Okay.
it's a
Okay.
Okay. So you could put a lounge in there?
No,
You could not?
no.
Okay, all right. So that was what I was.
Well, there's a lot of difference in a lounge and a liquor store.
Right.
And what if there was a restaurant that sold liquor? Would you be opposed to that?
Well, most of them already do in Uniontown and.
Well, that's my question. Would you be opposed to that if a restaurant went in there because you're advocating that you accept?
Generally, folks who have a propensity to drink will not get us drunk or have issues at a restaurant where it's designed for eating, an eating establishment, like a steakhouse or a hamburger joint or something of that nature.
You don't know my cousins.
Well, what I'm saying is, if we have any, and I didn't want to go into the scriptures, but the Bible warns us about giving our neighbor drink, and it cautions us strongly about those who take in wine and drink. And so our ministry, and I think most of the ministries along that area would be opposed to them. I don't know if there's any other pastors here or not, but then I've also heard it said that if most Baptists would stop buying liquor, there wouldn't be any.
Exactly.
I understand. Thank you very much. We have, this is our 3 against. I'm going to, is there any other person who brings up a different aspect of this? Now, and I need for whomever speaks, be very, very brief, because we have much on the agenda today.
Mr. President, can I offer something? I think the number of folks that have already spoken and purely the number of people that have signed petitions, if the folks that were going to speak would agree, I'm going to offer a motion to deny, not based on the community's outreach and what's been said, not that they're against business, but that they're against this type of business in the community. So based on that, if everybody's okay with it, I'm going to offer a motion to deny this one.
Yeah.
In lieu of.
In lieu of, okay. Oh, I'd like to hear from our county attorney before we have to vote.
Thank you, Commissioners. I've heard the applicants indicate that there was a license that was given and that this part of this building where these are attached was going to use it for bingo. And the reason for that was there was a license that was offered. So I wanted to take this opportunity to make it clear that in Jefferson County, unincorporated Jefferson County, bingo is illegal. There are no bingo licenses that are issued by this commission. There's a constitutional amendment that authorizes bingo in Jefferson County subject to resolutions or orders that are passed by this body, and this body has not passed them. So while there are other cities and municipalities in Jefferson County that may authorize bingo, it is not authorized in Jefferson County. It is illegal. Consequently, there is no appropriate zoning anywhere in Jefferson County for bingo because bingo is illegal gambling by statute. As such, as it's been presented and represented here, these owners and these premises are going to have what they have admitted to as an illegal bingo operation. So I want to make that aware. I also want to make you aware that licenses that are issued by the county and the state with regard to amusement machines specifically state that that does not pass on the legality of those machines. So I just wanted to make everybody aware that bingo in unincorporated Jefferson County is illegal. There's been no resolution passed, and as such, what you've heard here today indicates that there is going to be an illegal operation that's going to be located on this premises.
Thank you. With that being said, I'd like to close this public hearing at this time and entertain a motion. Got a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
I'm gonna second it, but I wanna say this. I don't think the liquor store is the issue, because liquor stores are not allowed. People go in, they buy what they buy, and they leave. I think there's been some testimony about the traffic. But I'm gonna deny it because I am not gonna even entertain another dadgum bingo hall going up in Jefferson County, and I hate that for you guys.
Okay, without a motion second, I'd like to open a short discussion if we don't mind. Commissioner Knight, I certainly appreciate your concern for the community. But additionally, having represented this area for 12 years, 12 plus years, and having gone to court with these people, understanding the tone and tenure of the community and their desires to have a wholesome atmosphere, I think that anything that would alter and change that tone of this community will be detrimental.
Amen.
And I appreciate your seconding. With that, we'll go ahead and call this vote. Ms. Steelberg, would you call the vote?
Commissioner Ammons? Yes. Commissioner Knight? Yes. Commissioner Tyson? Commissioner Stevens?
Yes. Thank you. Now, this has been denied by the county commission. These people have a right, just as the pastor, person to go to circuit court. So, it was understanding that may occur, and that there has been a tone set that the county will represent this commission as it did in the past concerning the outcome of this hearing. And we appreciate everyone being here, and we're going to go on with the meeting. If y'all can leave, if you want to stay, we'd love to have you. And Mr. Patel, I thank you for being here. Appreciate your consideration. All right, next we have a zoning case Z22003. This is Mount Zion Baptist Church.
Sure, go get your free gas.
Thank you, everybody. Thank y'all.
Representing Mount Zion Baptist Church. R1 and C were institutional ones for like zoning, but also bring the existing church in compliance. The address is 2601, 2613 Forest Boulevard in the Westwood Adamsville area. There was no opposition from the surrounding community, and the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee recommended approval.
Like open public hearing for Z22003. Anyone speaking in favor of or in opposition to? Hearing that public hearing is closed.
Move the other.
Well, been moved and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next is Z22004.
He's the pastor of the church. I just explained to him that his zoning request was approved.
You vote. Okay.
Oh,
Good. He's getting up to leave, Joe.
Well, I knew he stood up, but I didn't know
he was going to leave.
Yeah, I was heading out first. I thought I was going to speak when he came. Hell, I thank God for him. But thank God for y'all. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Continue to do the good work of God.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Guys, who rehabilitate general, no general folks.
All right.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I can't do this now. Okay, this is the application of Gary L. Traylor, representing himself as a property owner. They have map of them is requested to rezone property from A1 to C3 to A1 to remove split zoning to also allow residential use. Of course, residential uses are not permitted in the C3 commercial zone district. This property is located at 7005 Bankhead Highway in the Door area. Site is 2.11 acres. There was no opposition from the surrounding community, and the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee is recommending approval.
Like over the public hearing. In this case, anyone speaking in favor or opposition to it? Hearing none, public hearing is closed.
Move that.
I've been moved second, all in favor say aye. Opposed? There is none. Case Z 22006 pulled by the applicant. So the next we have is Z 22009 Martin Management Consulting. It's an area 5313 Eastern Valley Road in McCall. They like to change the zoning from A1 to R1 for a future residential subdivision of 9 lots proposed. I have two people speaking in favor of Blake Yarborough and Greg Knight. Are you here in the audience? And I had Susan Martin speaking against it, but I think she signed the wrong petition because she lives on White Drive in Concord. Ms. Martin, are you here? Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this? It's just a second, I see no opposition. Are you good? Yes. Okay. Anyone speaking against this?
Where's this located?
Come on up, Commissioner Knight, ask questions.
Yes, I'm Greg Knight, WYD 880 Montclair Road, Birmingham. Just a little background, this is a 9-acre property on Eastern Valley Road that we're looking to rezone from A1 to R1. The intent is a 9-lot subdivision. Currently, there's one existing home on the property. We'll be looking at putting in a new private road on the west side of the property that will be added along the edge of the property line to give access to the new 8 lots that the homes developed. We've been working with staff on this driveway placement. We previously had it in the floodplain on the eastern edge, but we moved that to the west. Future homes will utilize on-site septic systems. The required R1 dimensional area is 15,000 square feet, and our proposed lots are significantly larger, with our smallest lot being 23,000 square feet. So right now we're seeking rezoning, and we'll determine the subdivision case. Happy to answer any questions.
Is this across from what subdivision?
I'm not familiar with the name of the subdivision. There is one across the street.
Is this in any way, if it's where I'm thinking of, it's kind of really sits low in there. Is there any kind of floodplain issues?
That's, we worked with Jeff Miller on that. So we had initially proposed lining up our access across from that existing drive. Since there is, like you said, a low area there in floodplain, we've moved that access point to the southwest, well out of the floodplain.
What's the average price, sale price of the home?
Honestly, I'm not familiar.
It's what?
I
said the lots are 23,000 square feet.
Looks like one per about 3/4 of the land.
Okay, so we're splitting the difference.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah,
I'm just trying to. Trying to understand where you moved that. You said it. You moved it because of the floodplain issue. Where'd you move it from and to?
Originally, we had it aligned with Heritage Park Drive, and Jeff requested that we move that entrance down to the south, well out of the floodplain.
Now, what about the houses? Will they be in the floodplain?
No, sir. The houses are well elevated above the floodplain. It's up on the hill.
Okay, thank you. This time public hearing is closed. Your item to move. I'll second. Mr. DeLaBerto, call on roll.
Commissioner Ammons?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
No.
Commissioner Scales? Commissioner Tyson? Commissioner Stevens?
Yes. Thank you. That has been approved. Next is Z 22-0011, Red Mountain Greenway. Recreational community. 955 and on Road, 2480 Shannon, Oxmoor Road, Red Mountain Park, 89.198. The Planning and Zoning Board recommends approval. Like to open public hearing this time, Z 220011. Anyone speak in favor of and opposition to this? You ready? Okay. Public hearing is now closed. To move second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Commissioner, 71 resolutions have been properly vetted in our Tuesday work session. Is there any particular item that the commissioner would like to pull separate consideration of?
Yes, Mr. President, separate item of consideration for item number 21. It's on page 5.
Right.
Item number 26. Still have a question as it relates to that. Those are the two items that I have, pages 5 and 6.
Do you offer a motion or the approval of all except 21?
As a matter of fact, Mr. President, if I can get a little bit more clarification as it relates to 26, that may can go and be included on the other items for consideration. Would you like me to ask it this time, Mr. President?
That's usually that's our rule, but yes, go ahead. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just saying, if I can get the answer I am seeking for 26, then it could possibly go on to the consent agenda.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's go ahead and pull those and consider them separately, like we need to. So you have a motion 1271 with the exclusion of 21 and 26.
Yes, sir.
You have a motion. You have a second. We have a motion second. All in favor say aye. Mr. Tyson, you have a question for 21. You got it. Okay. Mr. Scale.
Yes, sir. So on item 21, are we expecting, this for the county manager's office, are we expecting any reimbursable expenses, and when does this program is due to start?
So this contract is effective upon execution of the week of September 30th.
fiscal year. So from now, if approved today through the end of the fiscal year.
Are there any reimbursable expenses that are anticipated to be received regarding expenditures prior to today?
No, ma'am. So the eligibility period for the CARES Act goes back to March 30, 2021. But these contracts are not written as that. The contract specifies that agreement period, which is the date of execution through the end of the fiscal year.
Say it one more time.
The date of execution, which will be today if approved, through the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, but we do not, for the record, expect any reimbursable expenses, money that has already been spent.
That's correct. That's outside of the contract period.
Okay, so any expenses will not be incurred by the county. This project is going to start today, and therefore anything that's supposed to be done. Okay. So moving forward, Mr. President, as it relates to the policy that we discussed on the other day, is that are we to receive any information from the county manager's office as it relates to the distribution sites, which is what we've asked for in terms of how the constituents are being served? We will receive some sort of report and advance listing of where these opportunities exist, so we can better inform our constituents to take advantage of it.
We notified all our partners after the meeting on Tuesday that was our expectation.
Okay, but is that a part of the policy, Mr. President?
It's not part of the contract, but it's our expectation of them.
Okay, and if they violate that expectation, then what?
We'll ask them to do better.
So there's no reinforcement.
In terms of publicizing events, that's not a contractual term. That's outside of what's required by the federal government in those contracts, and it's not part of our usual policy. So when those contracts were drafted, it was a mixture of some of our existing community grant policies and the federal government requirements. That's what those terms were created by. But it's been made clear to all of the participants that our expectation is that they let us know the dates and times, locations of those events.
Prior to
them occurring.
Can you put that?
Okay, so then that confuses me, because I'm just saying, how do our constituents, how are they invited to participate if we don't ask a question in terms of, or even, how is this thing being publicized so that the constituents of Jefferson County can be ensured that no one else outside of the county is taking advantage of a service that partners of the county is being provided?
Well, there is a contractual term that nobody outside of the county can, the funds cannot be expended outside of the county, and they have to maintain documentation showing who they're serving. So that is there in terms of what's being collected for reimbursement. In terms of how people know about it, like I had mentioned on Tuesday, we were relying on them just like we would with any organization that we've worked with in the past, to use their own expertise to do whatever it is they do best. Now, we could make a provision in a contract to where it's a contractual term that we're notified of those things ahead of time, but we would have to go back and redraft or amend the 3 that have already been approved and redraft the 3 that would have be up for approval today.
Perhaps you should change that could to should.
And I'd be happy to do that if that's the commission's desire.
Can you put it in the contract?
Is that legal in federal law?
I think you can add things beyond what the federal government requires. You just can't make it less restrictive. But we could make it more restrictive as long as it is fair and done in a fair way. Now, I will say that
what would be unfair about, like, hey, this is where we're going to do it?
Well, that's what I was explaining. I think that would be a provision that would be fair to add to it. Now, I will say that provision, that guideline, was not what was advertised in terms of eligibility requirements, but I don't think it would materially affect what it is we're doing, and it wouldn't be a substantial problem. But we would have to go back and amend the contracts that have already been executed in February.
I thought that's really what we talked about yesterday.
So, what I had advised Tuesday that I would do is set the expectations with our partners, and that's I set them a message reminding them of the terms of their contract regarding attribution, conflicts of interest, and I sent a message outlining what our expectations are of them in terms of letting us know when and where their events are. That was received by all of them, and a copy of that was forwarded to the commissioners.
So let me make sure I'm articulating exactly what my concern is. I'm saying that if we're relying on these organizations to communicate with our constituents, what kind of assurance that we have that if they decide that they want to do their own thing, and someone from Shelby County or someone that comes from an outside county, I'm just only using that as an example, that they are taking advantage of a program that was designed by this commission to facilitate food desert needs for, hold on, that's because I'm not hearing any kind of assurance, neither am I hearing any kind of reinforcement that we are having in place, because if our folk don't know about it, they can't take advantage of what they don't know, and yet when they get to the site, who gives us the authority to deny giving them access to food just because of the fact that they don't meet the residential requirement? You understand? So it just seems like it's kind of loosely out there as to how these things are being distributed, and yet I know that we have been very superlative in trying to make sure that the county is facilitating the needs of county residents. That's all that it is. It's nothing else other than that for me. How are you publicizing it where the constituents can be able to take advantage of it? And just to say that, we kind of giving them a light admonishment to do that, that doesn't mean that they're going to do it. They can just do whatever that benefits their organization.
I think it's beyond a light admonishment. They're operating on a reimbursement basis only, so if they don't provide the documentation showing that they are serving the eligible population that we outlined, they don't get paid by us. And I think that's been made clear to every entity. We did almost twice this amount of food assistance in the CARES Act in a shorter period of time, and people being aware of those opportunities didn't seem to be a problem at that time in the county. We worked with several organizations, some that aren't part of this group, and I don't think the notice of those opportunities was lacking at that time. And I will say again, I think it's more than just kind of relying on people to do the right thing. We've set up what their eligibility requirements are, and I told them that they're not getting paid unless they follow those requirements. And there's documentation that must be presented showing who they're serving, where they're serving it, how they're serving it, and if it falls beyond that, they don't get reimbursed by the county for that.
So, County Manager, is it just the responsibility of Mr. Smith to oversee what happens with these contracts, or whose responsibility is it?
The Finance Department, once we get the documents in that says they made, they spend money, we review those and make sure it's appropriate before we make the reimbursements. So the Finance Department has team members helping us review this as well.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, the organizations, they front the money and then the county then reimburses them back? Is that what I'm hearing?
All the way after we get proper documentation, correct.
And they're all subject to monitoring, Commissioner. So monitoring is a specific thing that's required by the federal government that requires us to verify those things for each of those organizations.
So, Mr. President, I wanted this item to be pulled separately for item 21, and I'm going to do this for the sake of the good of the county. I don't feel comfortable about specifically the organization with 21. I'm going to approve it. I'm going to vote in the affirmative, but I'm making it clear from this dais, anything that I believe is being politicized rather than just being for what it's supposed to represent, you'll hear back from me again, because I'm telling you, I don't know how this stuff is being publicized. That concerns me, okay? And I do want to make sure that those constituents of the county are receiving the services that we have been willingly able to provide funding for. And if you're telling me that it is the finance department as well as your office, county manager, then I'm going to hold you all to that. They are subordinates to you. So I'm going to hold you to that. And I want to see, what, you know, I know that Commissioner Knight asked for before, at least some sort of audit of who's being serviced and how they're being serviced. Did you ever receive that information? So if he never received that information, that's where my uncomfortability comes from. You should automatically have that on the spot because you said, hold on, you just said that they won't get paid except for they provide certain information. So it shouldn't be where any commissioner can ask for that information and it not be readily available.
That's correct, and they're not serving anybody yet, so there's nothing to audit yet. So we'll have that information once the reimbursements start coming in.
We'll be glad to provide a monthly, you know, once a month or every commission meeting. What we know, we'll be glad to do.
We're good to move on. All right, Chair will entertain a motion for the approval of the resolution of the court.
Move on.
It's been moved. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Moved and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No.
Abstain.
Okay, so we have number 21 has received the affirmative vote. Number 26.
I'm not gonna vote for something that only gives 50% of the food to the people, so that's where I'm at.
Resolution authorizing the recognition of the Department of Community Service and Workforce Development into two separate departments.
I move the item.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
I'm the one that had the question.
All right, go ahead.
So, I've been speaking with the county manager and so I just for the public consumption of it, I wanted to digest really the intent, but more importantly, how we move forward by separating, the two departments that currently is one department. It is my understanding that the department as it stands received a support from the state as it relates to the great job that has been done. It seems as though that may not necessarily be the case. I don't know. I just want to know, what are we trying to achieve with these two, with the breakdown of these two departments? And how do we ensure that by doing this, that we don't create future problems moving forward?
Big for you.
Yeah, what we're trying to achieve is make it easier and more efficient to manage. This particular program is a federal program through the state, which all of that funding has to be kept separate anyway, and the accounting of it and so forth. So it's just easier and cleaner and more transparent to separate it and really be able to map out those processes, improve those processes in that way. So, you know, this was done a few years ago, and we're kind of going back to that model and working closely with the state to do the same.
So, since the committee member, the committee chair that represents that committee is gone, my question would be, if in the spirit of what this is to represent, are we in any way weakening the department as it stands right now by separating the two?
No, ma'am, not at all. I think we're strengthening the department. And as I said, they have to operate pretty much separate anyway due to the federal funds that they get in the program they do. Some of the salaries are paid with those funds, and they have to be totally separated. This makes it easier for us to account for it, and also the amount of money we get fluctuates, so when you got administrative duties in other departments tied to that money, it just gets real complicated, so. This will make it easier for us to manage it more efficiently and better create, training for our citizens and programs for the companies who need it.
Well, I'll just go on record as saying this in closing, because I know I'm left here with these wonderful men here who don't really like to be talking long, but I just believe we're in talking business. I will say that I have my own personal thoughts as it relates to this particular item. If there is an elephant in the room, I just believe that you address the elephant and just that, and nothing more, nothing less. But nevertheless, I thought that we were moving in a good way. I was a bit taken back to even learn that this would be, and so my vote will reflect the same. Right?
Chair, like to have a motion.
We got a motion in a second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 No.
All opposed?
No.
And 1, 3, 1, 11.
Yeah. And this subcommittee.
All right, anything else, county manager?
No, sir.
County attorney? Right, commissioners? Being hearing nothing,